Guys, welcome to week 5, Step Into the Fray recap. In week 5, we talked about healing. Last Wednesday, you heard from Susie Vibral about Room Redux. She's the founder of this organization, and they use volunteers to redo children's rooms after trauma. They get referrals from law enforcement, from the FBI, from counselors, and some other sources. On Saturday, you heard from Jessica Lamb. Jessica has a network called Atlanta Redemption Inc. This network consists of tattoo artists and removal specialists that cover up or remove branding or scars related to trafficking. So I want to share with you a couple of my takeaways from these two amazing interviews. But I'd also like to hear your feedback on them. So if you'd like to interact, go ahead and check these out on YouTube and give me some comments back there. So first, let's talk about the work that Susie and the crews out there for Room Redux do. So the thing that really hit me hard is there's a lot of work that goes into the details of these redos of these children's rooms. For example, when a child is laying in bed after some sort of abuse has happened or some sort of trauma has happened, how many times do they look at the ceiling to just make patterns out of the texture or the tiles that are up there because they're trying to stuff down all that trauma that they lived through? What about when they sketch something into a piece of furniture when they're hurting inside? These groups really pay attention to these details because they're really about the healing for that child. And they try and remove those things that were such a tremendous focus during the middle of that trauma that continuously bring these children back into that hurt. Or sometimes the child may be removed from that house and put into another home. So they actually create a sense of ownership through what they put in these rooms for that child so that the child once again has something that they can call their own after their entire lives have been disrupted. It's amazing work, and you really need to check it out. In talking with Jessica with Atlanta Redemption Inc., I really learned a lot about branding and scars and things like that from people who are being trafficked or about people who are being trafficked. I never even thought about it. But imagine you look at a scar that you received as a child on your arm. What happens? You get brought back into that event. And even though these people that are being trafficked may not understand that they're being branded at the time, when they get out, they understand very well what that is. And they look down at these tattoos or these brands or these scars, and they get brought back into that time. How can they ever heal? How can they ever heal when they have to continuously look at their own bodies and see that brand? And additionally, it's a communication piece. So the underworld talks to each other. We all know it, right? So if someone sees that brand on someone who has gotten out of that lifestyle, they could easily be brought back in through that identification. So it's important to get rid of these scars, to get rid of these tattoos. Now, marching into the final week, on Wednesday, we have a conversation with Hannah George, the president of Filter, which Filter, it sounds like it's an application, but it's not. It's really a digital well-being and online safety curriculum for children. And what she does is she shares with us healthy habits and what her curriculum's about to help children be safe online and to set healthy limits with our children and protect their innocence. And then in the final episode of this series, I hate that it's coming to an end because I've met so many fantastic people. But in the final episode on Saturday, we're going to have Ryan Mickler. And this is a little bit of a change. Ryan is the founder of the Order of Man movement, which, in my words, promotes healthy masculinity. And in this episode, we talk about the characteristics of what unhealthy masculinity is and what true masculinity is and how to promote that true masculinity in today's culture. So you're probably asking why. Well, one thing that I heard time and time again is that men statistically are the largest percentage of the sex buyers and demand in trafficking in this trade. So, what's the best way to defeat that demand, to defeat those sex buyers? Well, it's to promote the opposite. It's to promote the characteristics of true masculinity. If we promote those characteristics, we dry up the demand. So I want you to remember that this series is not for your enjoyment. It's not for casual listening. Rather, it's here to help you increase your knowledge about this topic, to provide you with resources, and ultimately, it is a call to action. I am calling you right now to step into the fray, to get involved. Now, to do that, you can find resources and you can also find ways to support all of these fine guests in their mission at www.fireforgedleader.com. Now, before I wrap this up, I'd also like to give a huge shout out to a great friend of mine, JP Roberts. He did a lot of the work on the initial graphics of this. If you're watching it on YouTube, it's the intro clip that has the whole lineup of guests. But he's done a ton of work in the background to help promote this, to promote this series, to help get this word out. And I encourage you to check out his work. I don't care if it's for illustration for a children's book, digital watercolor, 3D modeling, or even a storyboard. He's got you covered. If you need some photography done for some of your products, nature photography, or even architecture, he's got your back. If you need some sort of design for a billboard, for a magazine, a marquee, or any other high-end digital design, he can do it for you. I'm telling you, JP does it all. Go check him out. His website is www.jproberts.com. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode in the Forge.